Hello, everybody. It's your favorite podcast. We're talking about wrestling and racing every Monday night. And I'm here with the man, the myth, the legend, and we'll get to him in just 1 second. But first, we want to thank our sponsors, Arden's Burger and Grill in Central South Carolina. Go by and see Donnie and Angie. They will take care of you. And we're talking about the best double dip wings, the s'mores French toast, the Paladin Burger, the Carolina Caviar Burger, and if you don't know what that is, that's pimento cheese. Also, they've got all kinds of great meat and three specials on Sunday. Make sure you go by and see them. That's Arden Burger and Grill in Central South Carolina. Also, we want to thank Upstate Physical Therapy in Anderson, South Carolina. We want to thank Pepsi Cola. We want to thank the Point RV at Lake Hartwell for everything they do for us, and we also want to thank Redbubble.com. Type in the Furman Joust collection and you can get a hat just like this, the official Rasslin and Racing hat. And if you see Ref Brandon somewhere, you can get him to sign it for you. That's right, Ref Brandon will be glad to sign it for you. And he won't charge you, but, an Arden's Burger. So anyway, let's bring him in. The man, the myth, the legend. We're talking about the head cheese himself, Ref Brandon. How's it going, Ref?
Absolutely amazing, Jay. Any better, I couldn't stand myself.
Oh, mercy. Well, there's a bunch of people that would agree with that statement. All right. Well, folks, let's get with Ref. And Ref, how was your weekend? What did you do?
Well, the high school football team that I cover for local radio here was off Friday night, so I went to SCA in Royston, Georgia on Friday night for their big show called Fighter Web, and the Fighter Web match is unlike a match that anybody has never seen before. It's new, it's innovative, it's hard to explain, but it's very, 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 very vividly imagination it would take to come up with a match like that one. But it was a very, very, very good show, and that was Friday night. And then Saturday night, I had Fight Mayor at SWA. So I had Fighter Web Friday night and Fight Mayor Saturday night. So I had two shows this weekend.
Wow, that sounds like a busy weekend, of course. But Ref, let's get to it. Let's get to NASCAR. Lot of big news that came out of this race, other than, of course, we lost 4 guys out of the final playoffs. But the problem was after the race, one of the ones that thought he was in is no longer in. So let's get to it. Of course, the race winner was Kyle Larson. Larson, of course, won the race, and now he is in first place at the top of the playoffs. Second place, Christopher Bell. Third place, our guy that me and Ref Brandon picked, Tyler Reddick, jumped up 4 spots. William Byram is in 4th. Ryan Blaney is in 5th. Denny Hamlin in 6th. And Chase Elliott in 7th. And here's the kicker, Joey Logano. Yes, Joey Logano, that same guy that didn't make the playoffs. Well, guess what? He's in it because the guy below him dropped 4 spots because of a disqualification and post-race inspection. We're talking about the number 48 car, Alex Bowman. And Ref, even with different crew chiefs, different drivers, that 48 car seems to always have some kind of penalty every single year.
Yeah, it does. The thing is, the other Hendrick cars win a lot, so because of that, Alex Bowman doesn't get talked about because he doesn't win like the rest of them do, but he's been the most consistent one all year long. There was a time over the summer where he had 9 or 10 consecutive top 10 finishes. He just doesn't win, and the other Hendrick drivers win all the time, but Bowman's been the most consistent this year all year long, and you hate to see him get cut because of a failed post-race inspection, but you have to follow the rules, and people always say that it ain't cheating unless you get caught, but you're right, that 48 car has been doing that for years, and that's why I never did like Jimmy Johnson, because it seemed like about every other month when Jimmy Johnson was race car driving that 48 car, they did something illegal over and over and over and over and over and over and over.
Yeah, either post or pre-race inspections. They was constantly getting tagged for that. And honestly, they deserve what they got. and they can appeal it, but I've got a sense that NASCAR, based on what I've seen and heard, caught them dead to right. So, when you try to push the envelope, things like that's going to happen.
No, it's funny, and I've heard former crew chiefs and former drivers do different, NASCAR radio shows or TV shows or whatever. They talk about how they inspect your car to the fullest. Now, if you've got anything illegal, they're going to find it. I've heard some drivers say that, they've had some drivers that they inspect their car 7 or 8 times because they look at it and something just doesn't look right. So they'll go back and they'll look at it again until they finally feel, comfortable. So these drivers should know if you try something, they're going to find it.
Yep. Well, we got 5 races left. And we're going to see who's going to actually, no, it's 4 races, correct? 4 races?
Yep, they got 3 more races, and then we'll go down to 4 drivers, and then we'll have the final race. So, 4 more races.
4 more races. We got a feeling it's going to be Kyle Larson, Christopher Bell, and Tyler Reddick. Who do you see getting that 4th spot? We got William Byron, Ryan Blaney, Denny Hamlin, Chase Elliott, and Joey Logano. Who you got as that 4th guy in?
Well, I said last week that I thought Logano would advance, and sure enough, by hook or by crook, Logano advanced. So it'd be kind of hard to go against Logano, but I'll say give me Denny Hamlin. This might just be Denny Hamlin's year to finally win a championship. I hope not, because I can't stand him, but it just seems like this year he's avoiding, all the major catastrophes. He's not being talked about like normal, because normally every year Denny Hamlin just does something stupid or says something stupid, and he has all the fans and all the drivers against him. He's really avoided that for the past couple of months. He ain't been caught in no major wrecks. He ain't had no bad chase race yet. So give me Denny Hamlin.
Okay, you got him getting into that 4th spot. All right.
Yeah.
Well, we'd already picked Tyler Reddick, so now you saying Denny Hamlin's going to win it?
No, I'll stick with Reddick.
Same here. All right. Well, that's our NASCAR news and notes, and that was brought to you by Ardensburg Grill, Central, South Carolina. All right, let's go, Rev, to the pay-per-view this weekend, WrestleDream, and it was a great pay-per-view. I enjoyed it. I think there was a lot of great matches. Even the 0 Hour was pretty decent. 0 Hour, of course, had Brian Cage versus Atlantis Jr., Eminem Connection versus The Acclaimed, and then Harley Cameron versus Anna Jay, and of course my favorite's Anna Jay in AEW. So we're gonna go first of all to the ROH TV title bout. It was the first match of the pre-show. Cage just dominated Atlantis, and just it was just not a great match for Atlantis, and Cage ended up winning and becoming the new ROH TV champion. And honestly, I think it's only right. I think Cage has been missing that title in AEW. I know he was the FTW champion there for just a little bit, but this is actually a title that's considered a title at AEW. So what was your thought on that? The match, I would give it... I'd give it a B+. I mean, all things considered, he should have destroyed Atlantis like he did, so I really can't count that as against it.
Yeah, you and I made predictions on every one of the matches last week, but I honestly do not remember who I picked in hardly any of the matches. But I've always thought that, Brian Cage and Wardlow both could have very bright futures, but neither guy has been booked good at all. So maybe this time they're finally going to do something with Brian Cage. But it was a good match. But the match wasn't bad, but you kind of can't call it a great match. But it was almost a one-sided match. I mean, Atlantis did next to nothing in that match.
Yeah. All right, Cameron and Jay clashed for the second pay-per-view early 0 Hour, and Anna Jay actually came out with the win due to experience advantage. They put a lot of work into this match. Both ladies, I think, did a fairly good job. but it was kind of a botched ending where it looked like the ref had to help push Cameron's shoulder down. I hate that happened because it looked like Cameron didn't do her part. So Anna Jay got the win on that. Because of that, I'd give it a B minus. But I mean, as far as the wrestling, they did a great job considering both women are not considered the best in AEW. But I think they did a great job.
Yeah, it was a good match, and you hate to see a match, finish like that. But wrestling's not like movies. You don't get a second chance. You go out there and you mess up. You can't stop in the middle and say cut and do it again. You just mess up and everybody sees it. But it's either the ref try to help out or not count at all or didn't count, and the whole world sees her shoulder right now. So no matter what you do, it's kind of a no-win situation.
Yeah. All right, our next match was a tag team match, and surprise guest Rico joined Mason Madden and Mansoor as their surprise guest, and they took on Max Caster and Anthony Bowens, of course, who were accompanied by Billy Gunn. In this match, the Acclaim defeated Eminem. Gunn took out Rico, and then the Acclaim did it with the mic drop. It was a fairly good match, considering it was a 0-hour match. Of course, the Acclaimed always puts on a good wrestling clinic. I see them possibly going after the ROH tag titles, not six-man, but tag titles. I think this is something that we could be looking at as a quest for them to get to the ROH tag titles.
I actually think that Eminem Connection's a pretty good tag team as well.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. All right, then we go to a very random, because I didn't even see this on there. It was a very random 8-tag team match. It was Orange Cassidy and Kyle O'Reilly teamed up with the Outrunners to take on the Premier Athlete and Dark Order. I think this was just to get the Dark Order on to the card, because there's been a lot of people screaming for them to get some time on there. Everybody loves Evil Uno and the guys, so it ended up exactly what you would expect it to be. A lot of comedy. I don't know. I think they had Mark Sterling, Josh Woods, Eva Uno, and Rocky Romero all get involved before the babyface scored victory. Outrunners and the conglomeration won. This was I would say, the worst match of the card. Because, like I said, it was just thrown in there out of nowhere. No one was expecting to see it. But I think they're just trying to get as many guys on there. And I agree with a lot of people. It was a C-plus match.
Yeah, Tony Khan always seems that every pay-per-view just have one or two matches that just have no business being on the card. He just does it to get guys on the card. But honestly, really, truly, I'm surprised that they still even have the Dark Order on there because, ever since Luke Harper died, they have done nothing with the Dark Order. I mean, nothing with them. So they really don't have a true storyline. They really don't have a true leader and never have. So I'm not really sure why they still have them together, to be honest with you. I really don't know.
All right. And then we go to the pay-per-view starting. And it starts off with Hangman Adam Page versus Jay White. Of course, Ref Brandon picked Adam Page. I picked Jay White. And boy, I got this one on you. Ref, you thought that they wouldn't have let Page lose this match after beating Swerve and all that stuff. But, woo, this match was quite interesting, to say the least. But I give this an A for what I saw. This was a very high intensity match. It was everything. Of course, Juice Robinson that wasn't at ringside. Page came out by himself. White got the victory with the buckshot. What's your thoughts?
Well, it's hard to have a bad match when you have Adam Page and Jay White in the match. But when it comes to the booking of AEW, nothing surprises me because none of the booking ever makes sense. And it doesn't make sense to push Adam Page like you've done recently, and all of a sudden he loses, but it's AEW, so it shouldn't be surprising. But no matter who won the match was still an A-plus match.
Exactly. And I thought it was kind of neat how they was chanting Swerve's name during the match. It was kind of like a way to get with getting Paige's ears, and he played it well. But yeah, Jay White, I think they're going to be getting ready to get him into a point where he's going to be in the main events. All right, next one up, Mariah May versus Willow Nightingale. This was a pretty good match. I don't know. May, she's still, I don't know what's missing. Ever since Toni Storm, she's kind of fell off a little bit with her in-ring. I don't know if it was because Toni was carrying her or what. You would think Willow would have been able to do the same if that was the case, but it was a good match, but it just wasn't. It's weird. I can say that Anna Jay and the Rookie actually had a better in-ring match, just a botched ending, whereas this one just seemed like something was off.
Yeah, you're right, it was, but the match itself may not have been good and may have missed something, but anytime Willow Nightingale's on my TV, it's an A+ match to me.
Oh, mercy. I'm just... But I think Nigel made that match worth listening to. I don't know what it is he has for Mariah May. It was kind of funny.
And I do agree with you with Mariah May. Maybe they pushed her too quickly. I don't know, but it just seems like she got to 100%, and then it's gone backwards.
Yeah, and she really didn't, even at the media scrum after the show, not many people wanted to really ask her any questions. I don't know if the media is also against her now or what, but it was really weird seeing that also. So, all right, let's go to Jack Perry versus Katsuyori Shibata. This match was A+. I give Jack Perry a lot of credit in this match. He did a very well match with Shibata, and of course he ended up getting the win. And what was even better was we had a couple returns, actually 3 returns. After Perry won, he was fixing to put some harm on Shibata, and Daniel Garcia ran in to make the save, and everybody thought that was, he ran off Perry, and then out of nowhere, MJF returns, who's been gone for a little while. Of course, we all know he's been filming Happy Gilmore too. He's playing Happy Gilmore's son. He comes down, and him and Garcia are fixing to go at it, and he starts beating up on Garcia. He's fixing to do the ring when all of a sudden we hear Bay Bay. That's right. Adam Cole comes out, runs off MJF, and makes the save because Jack Perry had hit Garcia in the back of the head, and Garcia was in bad shape, and Adam Cole comes out there. Of course, last time we looked, he was with, Undisputed, so we don't know where that's going because, now he hadn't been seen with him for a while, but he's been out injured, so it seems like a lot of confusion, but I think it was a great spot to have 3 returns in one match. I think that was kind of neat the way they did it. It's just confusing to how they're doing it.
Yeah, and honestly, really, truly, they need to kind of sort of not really put Adam Cole in any kind of major angle until they're sure that he's able to come back and wrestle, because it seems like the last couple of years, every 2 or 3 matches, he gets hurt again. So you really don't want to do a whole lot with him and then him get hurt, again.
Yeah. All right, at this point, Ref, we're tied up as far as our picks, and we go into the next match. And we both was wrong. We go into the 3-way for the AEW International Championship. Will Ospreay versus Ricochet versus Kensuke Tashikata. Shit, am I saying that correct?
Konosuke
Takashita, okay. You had Will Ospreay keeping the title. I had Ricochet getting it, and neither one of us was right.
No, I was hoping that Takashita would win. I just didn't think he'd get the win, but I'm glad he did.
Yeah, and the media scrum with him and oh man, I can't remember his name. His manager. Anyway, the media scrum afterwards was hilarious. You'll have to go back and watch that on YouTube. But yeah, Don Callis. That was hilarious watching the questions and the answers to it. But I give this an A+ match. They put on a wrestling clinic, the three of those guys, and I think this is a well-deserved win for him. I think he's put in his time, and I think letting him have this title, even if it's for a short time or a long time, I think this is smart for AEW as we get ready for Forbidden Door the first of next year.
Yeah, I agree. It was a great match, and I'm hoping that they let Takashita keep the belt for a while because he's really good, and I was hoping he would win. Like I said, I just didn't think he would, but now that he has, I hope this title reign doesn't end in a month or so.
You know, honestly, after I saw the way they did it, I think that this could lead to Ricochet Ospreay having a series of best of threes to see who will face him. And that way it frees up Ospreay to go one way, Ricochet to go after, Taka. And between, I think we'll have some great matches because, Ospreay is going to go after the world title. So I think him and Moxley would be a great match. Whereas if you put Ricochet going after, Taka, I think that would be a good way to go. I mean, I'm not saying that's what's going to happen, but just the way it's setting up seems to be that.
Yeah, and that makes sense, too.
All right, then we get to a match that a lot of people couldn't understand, but now that I've been able to make some phone calls, I understand why they put it in there. We go to the 2 out of 3 falls, Hologram versus the Beast Mortis. Now, Hologram's new. Mortis has only been there for a little while. This match seemed like it was thrown in there, but there's a reason. As a lot of people know, Warner Brothers and AEW signed a contract, and AEW also has a new that is also going to be a part of the new Fox Mexico, where they're going to be doing some things. And Fox Mexico wants more Lucha Libre matches. So, hence, Riff Brandon, this is where we get that.
Yeah, and Lucha Libre matches can be good as long as you book them good. They're easy. WCW did a great thing when they had the Cruiserweight division years ago, and then it just all went to crap. And then WWE had the 205 Live, and it was great, and it all went to crap. But Lucha Libres and Cruiserweights, whatever you want to call them, can have great matches as long as it makes sense and as long as you're consistent with them. So the Lucha Libre thing can be phenomenal if they book it right.
All right, but before this match happens, Tony Schiavone gets out in the ring, and we have Swerve Strickland. That's right, Swerve Strickland returns at WrestleDream. Now, he does not get in a match, but he comes out because Schiavone was talking to Prince Nana, and Nana brings Swerve out, and he does a quick little promo about how he's feeling better. He's going to be back ASAP. But out of nowhere comes MVP with, guess who? Shelton Benjamin. That's right, folks. Shelton Benjamin made his AEW debut. Now, we did not get Bobby Lashley, but MVP gave Swerve Strickland the thing to give him a call. Swerve hugged Prince Nana, turned down MVP. So this could be leading to another possible. I think he's going to come out and offer him one more time. When he says no, I think that's when Bobby Lashley is going to come out. Bobby Lashley has been signed by AEW, folks. We all thought it was going to happen at WrestleDream, that he was going to show his face, but he didn't. So I think if they're smart, this is what they're doing. They're going to be letting Shelton and Swerve have a past where they've been best friends. I think it's not Shelton Benjamin that's going to jump in, but Bobby Lashley's going to come out of nowhere and hit him whenever he turns it down a third time. And it'll be like 3 strikes, now you're out. Your thoughts?
Yeah, I just hope I mean, Bobby Lashley's had a, phenomenal career, but, Shelton Benjamin, I've always thought since he debuted 20 plus years ago that he's always been a guy that's just never been booked properly, but it's because he's an amazing wrestler. But, this day and time, wrestling is more about entertainment, having that personality, which is why Cesaro or now Claudio Castagnoli's never done a whole lot because he has the personality of a tree, and so does Shelton Benjamin. I know he has no personality at all, and he has no charisma, nothing. But Shelton Benjamin is a phenomenal wrestler. So I hope they do something with him because at his age, he doesn't have long left, but he's an amazing wrestler. I could watch him wrestle all day long.
Yep. Well, once we get done with this, we get finally to the match of Hologram versus Mortis. And this match had to pack as many spots as they could into a short match. Hologram won the first fall, and then Mortis won the second, and then Hologram ended up winning the battle. It was a B-plus match considering how short of time they had to do it in. I could not believe they did it as small as it was. It was like trying to pack 3 matches into 15 minutes. It just made no sense. But it was a great match. In all honesty, it was a B plus.
Yeah, I kind of wish they would have just let it be, a one fall match, because in all my years of watching wrestling, I don't know that I have ever seen a 2 out of 3 falls match, especially on a pay per view, not go all 3 falls. So when you say 2 out of 3 falls, everybody already knows it's going on 3 falls. So just have one 15-minute match, have 1 fall to the finish, and be done with it. But 2 out of 3 falls match always goes 3 falls every time.
Yep. All right, we go to our next match, which was one of the main event matches of the night. Brody King versus Darby Allin. One thing that we noticed was the House of Black did not come down. He did not use their music. Don't know what that means. Of course, everybody's getting shifted around, so I guess we'll see what's going to happen with this new media deal. I think they're going to be changing things a lot. Just a head note for everybody. Rampage might not be on for maybe another 2 or 3 weeks. It looks like they was not included. Neither was the Battle of the Belts in the media deal. But AEW is shopping those 2 things around they are free to shop those around to other networks. So we might find out in the coming month or 2 where those 2 shows will be. All right. Well, very simply, Allen was able to win after 2 coffin drops. One which was set on the steps. That was good. What was your thoughts on this match? I gave it an A. I know some places gave it a B, but I gave it an A.
Yeah, I'd give it probably a B plus or A minus. I'm right there with you. The only thing I didn't get, which I'm fine with where it was, but I was kind of surprised that it was so late on the card, since AEW has 95 championships, and that match was just a regular basic one-on-one match. I figured it would be at least the first half of the show. So I was surprised at where it was put at, but the match itself was good.
Yep. And of course that leads into Ref Brandon's favorite team, the Young Bucks, defending their World Tag Team Championships against Private Party. Ref got this right. I got it wrong. I went with Private Party. He went with the Young Bucks, even though he hates them. And of course, they Young Bucks hold on to the titles. I thought this might be where the Private Party would get their first ever tag titles. I was wrong. I'm telling you, I don't understand what they're doing with Private Party. They put them with so many legendary tag teams and stuff, and just can't get them over. This was a chance to do that, and they didn't do it.
Yeah, and the reason why I picked the Young Bucks in the match, and I'll pick the Young Bucks Bucks, every time they wrestle, until they show me they'll put somebody over. I've always heard that the Young Bucks just do not like losing. They think they're the greatest thing that wrestling's ever seen. And ever since they become EVPs, they have won every single match they've been in. So until they show me that they're willing to give those belts up, I'm going to pick them every match they're in. If they're in a match with 25 tag teams, the Young Bucks are going to win. They just will not put nobody over. They won't do it. And it destroys the tag team division, but they don't care because the Young Bucks love themselves some Young Bucks.
Yep. Well, then we get to the next match, which was for the ROH World Championship, which normally has not been a singles match on a pay-per-view, at least not in the very end in the main event area. It's usually at the start of the match or at 0 hour or mixed into a tag team match. This match, of course, was Jericho versus Briscoe, Mark Briscoe. The OC had to come down and chase off Big Bill and Brian Keith. And I don't know, this match, Briscoe defeated Jericho, but you could tell there just was a lot of confusion that didn't need to happen. I wish they would have just let it be Jericho, Briscoe, let Briscoe get the win. But they just had to have all the interference on the outside. The match itself was a B, but the interference could have made it a C.
Yeah, I don't know if they're just trying to protect Jericho or what they're doing, but the match just had too much cluster going on. Why can't you just let two guys go out there and wrestle? There's no reason for that much nonsense going on, inside and outside the ring.
Yeah. And of course, by this time, it's almost midnight. And the crowd just seemed like it just wasn't cheering as much, even though we got, Moxley, we got Bryan Danielson. This particular match, this match was A+. I enjoyed it. There was a couple areas that it could have just, I wish they would have just left it alone. Of course, Yuta and Allen had to come down to interfere to get run off Blackpool Combat Club, but Moxley gets the win, and then after that, Allen was duct taped to the ropes and forced to watch Castagnoli crush Danielson's neck with a chair. And then, of course, the AEW locker room finally showed up out of nowhere. So, what was your thoughts on this particular match?
Well, you and I talked about it right after, Bryan won the championship, that we pretty much thought that once he lost the belt, his career was pretty much done. And it looked like, they were doing that by trying to injure his neck. But, I had mentioned at the time that I was hoping that the title run would be longer than what it was. I didn't see no reason to give Bryan the belt for 3 or 4 months, but sure enough, his title reign was not very long, especially considering they were in Washington and he's from Washington. I thought he would walk out Saturday night with the belt, but John Moxley winning the belt was okay. I just was hoping that Bryan's title reign would be longer than what it was.
Yep. Several notes that I've heard some websites give was that whoever paired Moxley with Shafir needs a raise. Apparently they are a great team. A lot of fans got a kick out of that. They continued playing the final countdown as they were, fighting each other. And then Moxley biting Danielson's back was unexpected, and that the commentators did a good job of making the ending feel legit.
Yeah, I'll never, ever, 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 even if my wife ain't home, I'll never give no match that John Moxley's in a plus just because my wife is in love with John Moxley. She thinks he's almost as good looking as I am. But it is actually good to see John Moxley go out there and, almost wrestle just a regular match, because it's very rare that Moxley does that. Almost every match he's in is some kind of gimmick match. So it's good to see him just go out there and wrestle.
Yep. And, of course, just a couple more notes. The return of MJF and Cole were expected by some fans, but the betrayal of Kyle Fletcher was a good call, even though no one saw that one coming. And Rico making an appearance was definitely a surprise. The two bouts that stood out the most based on fans was Page and White, and then, of course, Ospreay, Ricochet, and Takeshita. They said those two matches were the best matches of the night, though their favorite match, of course, was Moxley and Danielson. So overall, the pay-per-view got a B+, A-, based on a couple of the small issues that they had during it. But like I said, Ref, you going into midnight, starting early. Of course, it was on the West Coast, so there's a reason why it probably did that, because it's not midnight there. Overall, like I said, I gave it. What'd you give it?
I'd give the whole thing probably either a A- or B+. It's hard to go with A+ because of the Mariah May match just felt flat.
Yeah.
And then you had the 8-man tag team match. It just was on there for no reason. So those two matches will bring it down, but I would still give it a A- or B+.
Yep, and a couple of returns. I mean, I think overall it could have been a lot worse, but I like I said with you, I gave it an A-. I think it just wasn't quite the A+ for the simple fact there was just some questionable things. I think one fan that was on there was saying they would give them more money if to keep Mercedes Moné off of it.
Yeah, and I feel the same way. I don't know what's happened to her, but she's kind of like Mariah May when she first broke in years ago with Sasha Banks. For about 2 or 3 years, I thought, man, this chick is going to be great. And then ever since then, she just seemed like she's gone backwards. And then AEW brought her in, and I thought, okay, she's turned a new leaf now. And ever since her debut, it's just felt flat.
Yeah, it has.
Well, I don't know what the reason is, but it's felt flat.
Ref Brandon, while you was Friday night, you was at SCA. I got a phone call, and my friend called me and said, "Hey, you want to go to SmackDown in Greenville, South Carolina?" I'm like, "No, not really," but I said, "I guess I could." And when you have a migraine, I suggest you don't go to anywhere where they play music real loud, because I could not enjoy a single thing when they play everybody's theme music. About drove me nuts. I thought it was kind of interesting, but I thought one of the takeaways was when Jimmy Uso told Roman, "You ain't no chief, Uso. You by yourself."
Yeah, this bloodline thing is, I don't know how they've managed to keep it this good for as long as they have, but to me, it continues to get better every week.
Yeah, but they had some good matches that night. And actually, Jade Cargill actually had a decent match. It was fast, but it was good. I don't know. I'm just not into the WWE as much as they have improved a little bit. I just can't seem to get into it anymore. Now I do have Netflix, but me personally, I like the AEW brand, even though sometimes the TV shows are not as good as the pay-per-views. I just love that pay-per-view, when you get that many good matches. Now, WWE has gotten better on their pay-per-view, so don't take me wrong, folks that are out there I'm not saying WWE doesn't have good pay-per-views, but I just think AEW, other than the length, does some of the best pay-per-views you can ever watch.
Yeah, they continue to put on, good ones. The only thing that keeps them from being great is every single one. Just like Saturday, Tony Khan puts 1 or 2 matches on the card that just are spot fillers. They have no business being there. When your show's already going to be 6.5 hours, you ain't got to make it 7 hours by putting on 2 matches that nobody cares about. that nobody wants to see, that nobody can explain why they're there. And if he would take those off pay-per-views, they would all go from good to great. But you can't have great when you have 30 minutes of programming that nobody cares about and nobody can explain why it's happening.
Yep. Well, at least now we know why the Mortis and hologram was put on there. Is because they're trying to finalize their Fox Mexico contract along with Warner Brothers for. And one of the staples is there's got to be more luchador matches. So I got a feeling we're going to see a lot more of that happening, which we've been seeing some of that anyway. But I think that kind of answers that question. But like I said, throwing the 8-man tag in there, honestly, the Anna Jay. I mean, now the ones that was 0 hour, I really can't say too much about. Be honest with you, because I mean that 0 hour, it's free to everybody. So they're just trying to get other wrestlers that wouldn't be, well, they might be at the arena, but they wouldn't be on the card, a chance to go out in front of people. Because I mean, not many people see Dark Order anymore. Not many people see some of those guys, and you gotta. I mean, actually, I haven't seen Atlantis fight in forever. So we've seen Cage lately, but we haven't seen Atlantis. So I think the reason why Cage has won some of his matches was to set up him beating Atlantis. So hopefully the ROH TV title will now get out there, and I think Cage has a chance to hold that title for a while. If they're smart, they'll do it. Or this could be, because we know Samoa Joe's going to be coming back soon. He gave that title away because he was going after the world title. I think a Samoa Joe versus Brian Cage would be a great battle.
Yeah, it would.
All right, Ref. Well, where are you going to be this coming weekend?
Well, Friday night I'll be back on the radio doing some high school football, and then Saturday night I'm going back to 244 Livestock Road, East Denali, Georgia for SWA, but it's a benefit show. Normally they only run the second Saturday of each month, but Jackie Owens, who owns SWA, his brother just spent about a week and a half in the hospital for some health issues, so we're having a benefit show for him, and all the money and proceeds go to his doctor bills and all that kind of good stuff. So I'll be back at SWA Saturday night for a benefit show.
All right. Well, we want to thank everybody at Arden's Burger and Grill in Central South Carolina, Donnie and Angie. Make sure you go by, see them. Let them know that Rasslin and Racin brought you there, and they will give you a free iced tea or 10% off your order, whichever way you want it. You can't beat that. So go by, get you something to eat, and get you a free iced tea or a 10% off your order. Also, we want to thank Upstate Physical Therapy in Anderson, South Carolina, The Point RV at Lake Hartwell, and also we want to thank Pepsi Cola. And finally, we want to thank Redbubble.com, where you can see the hat I'm wearing right now, Rasslin and Racing. You can get that at Redbubble.com. It's in the Furman Joust collection. All right, folks, this has been a great week. Appreciate Ref Brandon as always. And Rev, tell them real quick where they can find you each and every day.
Find me on YouTube, Ref Brandon and the Todd family. And I do post just about every single day, and it's mainly college football and wrestling. But I do also talk basketball, I talk baseball, I do NASCAR, and then once a week I do a top 10 countdown, which sometimes they're not about sports at all.
All righty. Well, there you go, folks. Make sure you check out Ref Brandon each and every day at the Todd, Ref Brandon and the Todd family. And we want to thank you for following us on the Greenville Sports Media YouTube. And we thank you also for following us on the DeFanboys YouTube. So this has been Rasslin and Racing for this week. So long, everybody.